Good morning, all my happy hip replacement people. I wanted to give you an update. Saw my surgeon a couple weeks ago. I think I touched base on my last video about that visit. We're progressing slowly. Next up is just getting off blood thinners, getting off antibiotics, and then seeing how my body responds to that. We'll see. Have you ever done something in your life that used to be so easy and so good that then you try it again and you're like, what just happened? What just happened? So I joined the YMCA because I wanted to get in access to a pool. And I used to teach water fitness, so I'm comfortable in the water. I love it. I think being in the water allows our body to move in a way that is so good because we don't have, we're weightless and we have resistance in the water, but we don't have to work. I won't say we don't have to work as hard because it's very hard, but it's just different than land training. And so my first water class was walking in the pool. Walking in the pool. It was called a range of motion class. Easily, the average age in the class outside of myself was probably 80. There were some very, very, very wise people, wise meaning old. And so the class for an hour was walking in different step patterns and holding and balancing and rotating hips and legs and knees for an hour. And the first class, I was feeling like, oh, my body can move again. I felt so good that my body was having movement. My hip was having movement that it wasn't having outside of water. And so I felt really good. I went again to the walking in the water class. It's very chatty. Lots of little old ladies chatting about whatever. I got included in their little club. I was one of the chitter chatters, and it was really, really lovely. So I took that class 3 times. Water, range of motion, just kind of getting literally my feet wet again and allowing my body to move in a way that it hasn't moved since January. And it felt really good. I had less pain initially as my body got that range of motion kind of going again. I actually had less pain. And so I was really excited. I went to a deep water class my 4th time at the YMCA. And I used to teach this deep water fitness at a different facility. And you use dumbbells, weights that are made of foam, different levels of foam, different weight. And so when I got to the class, there was about 50 to 60 people in the pool taking this class. And this class, there's no chatting. This is serious business. But as I scanned the group of people, again, at least the youngest person was 75 and went all the way up. And so I got there just right at the nick of time to get in the pool to attend the class. So I ended up being in the back row, which I was fine with, especially as what I learned about myself. And so I'm in the back row and the teacher's on the deck and she's having us like move our body like we're bicycling. And then we did like a count of 5 bicycles and then 2 kickbox, cycle for 5, 2 kickbox. It was like, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to move that way. And the people in front of me, the women in front of me, silver hair, at least 80 years old, if not 85, they're bicycling, they're clapping their hands, they're kickboxing, they're keeping up with the teacher on the deck, and they're in the water, and they're laughing and smiling and enjoying and high-fiving. And I'm behind them feeling like I'm drowning. Like I couldn't do it. And this wave of emotion came over me, this wave of sadness, this wave of frustration that here I am at the back of the class and I can't keep up. I'm getting my ass handed to me by 85-year-olds and they're having fun and I'm miserable. I don't cry very often. It takes a lot for me to cry and I could feel the tears coming. They were stinging my eyes, because I was so frustrated that my body was not cooperating. My body wasn't performing. It wasn't working. It was painful. It was awful. It was awful. And so in that moment, and I'm in my awfulness and in my deep humility, walking a fine line of self-shame. Nobody else cares that I can't do it, but it's all myself, my own perception. I'm watching this group of women in front of me, and they've got their little short, cute little spiky haircuts, and they're literally spinning in the water in joy, clapping and dancing and interacting with the teacher and interacting with each other and living their best life in the moment, completely in it, completely in it. They're not thinking, how do they look in their bathing suit? What's wrong with their skin that's aging? None of it. They were completely in it. And so as I started to observe my own thoughts about myself and the frustration I was experiencing and observing them in 100% joy, I realized again, this process of hip replacement has taught me so much about choice. And all 50, 60 of these people who are well into their 70s, 80s, and 90s choose joy. They choose connection. They choose people. They choose activities that bring them a sense of purpose and community and happiness. And every single day we get to choose. And it was remarkable to be the observer of my thoughts, watching my thoughts, watching these women. And I got out of the pool early, just about 5 minutes. And I wanted to just experience this feeling a little bit longer. I didn't want to start chatting with anybody. I didn't want to have to deal with 50 of us trying to get out of the pool at the same time, because it takes me a bit. And I just wanted to feel this a little bit longer. I wanted to feel my sadness. I wanted to feel my frustration. I wanted to feel my inspiration towards these women. I wanted to soak in their joy. And so I got out of the pool and I was taking a shower, and I was getting ready when they came in, the large group of people came into the locker room, and just listening to them, not complaining about their health problems, not complaining about their pain, but completely alive, completely alive. They were giggling and laughing and joyful and complimenting each other and so alive. And I looked back at my experience being at the back of the pack, the back row where nobody can see me struggling, and just feeling that and what that felt like in that moment where I couldn't do what they were doing and how frustrated I felt. And then I'm listening to them in the locker room in such grace and goodness and life that I again was reminded that every situation that we have, especially the hard ones, we really do get to choose. It doesn't mean that the hard ones, we can't feel sad, we can't feel frustrated, but are we going to stay there, or are we going to be inspired by these women and men who are alive, who are choosing joy every day? And when I was getting out of the pool, I'm hobbling along with my cane. I'm terrified of falling. So I use a cane whenever I have to walk far, but especially on wet floors. So I'm using my cane, and this sweet, sweet, sweet little old man, all hunched over, says to me, "You're doing good, honey." And I thought, there it is. There it is. There's what these people come here for, is to be encouraged and to have community and to be alive. And so I can't wait to get back in the water. I'm just going to go to the deep water class again. I may not be in the back row, might stretch myself to get into the crowd and be with my new friends, my new people. But I realized that it's going to take time. It's going to take time for my fitness level to return to what it was. And I get that. And there wasn't envy or jealousy or anything. There was more just awe. I was in awe of these women who, despite their aches and pains, despite their limitations, despite their loss in their life that I know they've experienced, they were happy, and they were choosing to be happy and choosing life and choosing joy. And it really was beautiful. And it's a memory that I will hold on to for a very long time. The first couple classes just walking were good, got me kind of back in, literally my feet wet. But the deep water class, it kicked my ass on many levels, but it brought me so much clarity of how I want to be going forward and who I want to be. And this morning when I was walking around my neighborhood, I have a neighbor who's 91 years old and has the most beautiful garden. And she was out on her little bench thing that helps her get up, picking weeds. And I stopped to chat with her. And again, another angel in my life that is showing me the way, showing me what aging gracefully is and aging gratefully is, and how to be alive despite, she can't kneel on the ground, she can't get up, all these things she can't do. And yet she's doing what she can that brings her joy. So I'm there with my senior citizens in the water class from here on out. I'm committed. I'm loving it. I'm inspired by it. And I said to my neighbors this morning, I hope I could be half the beautiful soul she is when I'm 91, because it's a choice. It really is a choice. And when you progress in your own recovery to where you're having to get out of your comfort zone, maybe trying something different, getting in the pool, I hope that you find joy too. I hope that you accept where you're at and know that the potential for growth is always there. And we will get there or not, but we get to be happy either way. All right, my friends, I say this all the time. This may be my last video, but I'm loving it. I'm loving learning. It's a process. My doctor tells me all the time, you're on the 18-month to 2-year program, getting back to where maybe I was, maybe I'll never get there, but man, am I growing, and man, am I learning about myself. I want to just pass that on. Have a beautiful day. I'll see you soon. If you haven't checked out my podcast, I highly recommend it. The last one was so good. I got so much great feedback about knowing your strengths. It doesn't matter how old or young you are, knowing yourself and improving yourself, it's where it's at. It's where it's at. All right. I'll see you soon.